everyone, Michelle here, and I just want to show you this new book from a single page idea. It's called a zigzag meandering fold, so you can imagine this is one sheet of A4 paper, and I'm going to go through the steps, but you fold in half and then fold in quarters, fold in half and then fold in quarters. And then the way that I'm going to do this demonstration today is then cut 3/4 on the first line and the third line, and 3/4 the other way on this middle line. So this is a 4x4 fold. I show you what it looks like in a finished book, and I'm going to do a bit of a show and tell on this one, but you can actually, with hardcovers, you can produce a book that is very beautiful. And here's one that's actually just a 2-fold. So a smaller starting piece of paper, and folded it in the middle and 3 times rather than the 4x4. But the way that you fold it, I will demonstrate with the 4x4. But you end up then with a book. In the previous one, I glued it down. I also put a hardcover on it. So here's a blank sheet. We'll start with an A4 sheet, just so you can see what the zigzag meandering fold is going to look like before I do it on the large sheet. So it's really simple. We just fold in half, and then each edge back into that half fold, so quarters. Open it back out and then fold it in half the other way. And same again. So for a 4-fold, we do halves and quarters in both directions. Now you can do a 4 and a 3. And if you want to turn a rectangular sheet into a square final book profile size, that's what it'll look like. So there we go. I'm now going to show you where you're going to cut. So you can see you've got 3 folds going this way and 3 folds going this way. And what we're going to do is cut from this side in 3 to that point. And the same with the third line into the 3rd fold. And for the middle, we're going to go back the other way into the 3rd point. So let me just quickly cut those. I might actually tear them quickly. This will be just as fast. And you can tear your paper if you want to have that lovely torn edge look. So I'm just going down to the 3rd fold on each of these in this direction, and then flipping it around third fold in that direction. So what you end up with is like a capital M, which I love because that's easy for me to remember. So when it comes to actually folding your pages, the trick is, if this is the side of the paper that you've decorated, and I recommend decorating, you can do both, but I think it's better to do one because I end up gluing them down. The trick is to remember that you start with one of these ends of the M and you always fold towards itself. So picture to picture, fold it in, then you fold it back the other way, then you fold it towards, and then this is the trick, is the under. Just have a look at that again. Towards, and then it goes under, then towards, back the other way, towards the picture, and then on the long side again it goes under, folding towards the picture, away, towards the picture, and then underneath to get around the corner, and then it's just a simple finish off there. Awesome. So Let me show you how we do it on the large sheet. So here's our full A2 sheet of Stonehenge watercolour paper, 300 GSM, and I've just covered it on the one side so that you can see this is how I start. I put down a base layer of marks, and when I put this into the fourfold book, you'll see it becomes a random selection of the pages so that it's a great stepping off point for the abstract work. So what I want to do is just show you how to do the folding. So I start with the long ways. Now, most people will know with paper you do a test. You can see which is the sort of natural fold. These are actually quite good both ways, and it may even be the long way that's the natural grain. So I'm going to just very carefully line up the ends. It does make a difference, and then carefully press down. I do have a bone folder, but I may use that later. So that's one fold. And then get that hard up against that fold. Second fold. Okay, so 3 folds in one direction. Let's do the second direction. Same thing, just on the long fold. Just getting those ends to line up. Again, quarters on the long fold. So you can see I've been fairly soft with the folding, and I will make those nice and crisp before I finish. Okay, so here's a very inexpensive plastic folder. It used to be called bone folders when they were made out of bone. So I'm just going to make these a little crisper. Great, so now it's time to choose the orientation. So you can see that in one section, if I cut it here, if I cut it this way, I'd end up with a portrait piece when I fold it. If I cut this way, then I'm going to end up, this is the piece, so I'll end up with a landscape piece. So that's exactly how I did this book, was I cut in a landscape format. I cut the long lines that way, and ended up with a book like this. So that's the exact material that I used for that other book. So now what I'm going to do is cut top line 3/4 of the way through, middle line 3/4 of the way back, and bottom line 3/4 of the way through this way. So that's our 3 cuts been made so that we'll end up with a landscape book. So now it's a matter of folding. So there's our book. So when we go and do a flip through, it's still a bit loose, and until we glue it down, it'll be a bit unstable. But that's really easy to just go and glue the pages to themselves to put a really nice matching cover on the front and back, like this one. And so it all ties in, and you end up with a 4-fold zigzag meandering fold book, which looks great when it's propped up and you're finished for display.